If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Cashing Out on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, welcome in. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo, getting ready to take you through your Wednesday night, right on in to your Thursday morning. We've got a fun program lined up. We've got some terrific guests. We've got schedules. The NFL schedule release is out. We are going to break it all down. I'll give my thoughts and takes on it. We'll have some guests comment on it as well. I know you just heard Matt Brown, Mike Somich break it all down. So we'll continue that to an extent. But we've also got to keep an eye on some live action going on right now. Your Las Vegas Golden Knights tied with Edmonton, zeros in the second period. Vegas trying to stay alive, keep their season going, down 3-1 right here in a Game 5 on home ice, where, of course, they dropped Games 1 and 2. Maybe they've got a little Boston Celtics magic in them tonight. The Celtics dropped Games 1 and 2 at home, just won Game 5 without Jason Tatum. Didn't win, destroyed my New York Knicks. Second half, the game was knotted up at halftime, or what was it, a 2-point game at halftime? Second half, the Celtics just absolutely separated themselves. So now Vegas here on home ice with about 12 and a half minutes to go in the second period, going to try to live to see another day. They are slight dogs at the moment. Even money to the money line. Edmonton minus 130 there. I believe when we come back, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be coming back to an Oilers power play. So that would be why Vegas is a slight dog on the live line at the moment. NBA playoffs, Knicks, Celtics in the books. But we've got third quarter action underway in Minnesota. The Wolves up 62-47 over Golden State. They were laying 11.5 pre-flop. That number now 14.5. Minnesota just asserting themselves with a dominant first half performance. Jules Randle, 16 points thus far. Rudy Gobert had 11. Ant-Man only had 6. You know you're in for a good night when Anthony Edwards only has 6 first half points and you find yourselves up 15 at the break. We'll update you with some live props now as the second half has begun. We'll see which way we can go. Maybe look at an Ant Edwards over here as Golden State cuts it to 12, 64-52. Don't believe we have the game on in here yet, so we'll get that on momentarily. Edwards to score 20 points, minus 115. I got to say, that intrigues me. You're asking for 14 points in the second half, but that is more than doable for a guy like Edwards. So over 19.5 on the live line, minus 15 cents, which, hey, you're never going to get the best price with these live betting odds, but, that is what it is. So, actually, so typical of DraftKings. So on the home screen where it says popular bets, when you go 20 plus, it's minus 115. If you just go over, click the player points tab, over 19.5 is even money. So same bet, different prices, never fails. So you can get over 19.5 for Ant-Man at even money, and boom, he hits a 3. He's got 9 right now. Only need 11 more there. I like that call. Jimmy Butler's got 8. Kuminga has 11. Brandon Pajemski has 14 to lead the Golden State Warriors, who seem like their season might be coming to an end here tonight in Minnesota. 70-52. I don't see any signs of the Wolves slowing up here. This was a game I didn't want to touch. It was a lot of points. I couldn't get there laying that many points just in case Golden State came out with a spark to try to save their season. But It doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like Minnesota from start to finish is going to be in control. And look, we've got almost an entire half of basketball left, but 30-23 in the first quarter, 32-24 in the second quarter. It's that lead hovering right now between 16 and 18. I just struggle to envision a world in which Golden State is able to get this back home for a Game 6 and a potential Steph Curry return. You know who's not returning this postseason? Jason Tatum. He underwent successful Achilles surgery. His postseason obviously done. Next season likely done. But the Boston Celtics, my oh my, what a game. Derek White. Look, if you didn't know Derek White was a certified stud, you're simply not paying attention. I mean, Derek White has been so clutch the last 2 years for the green and white, and he really stepped up, more so than Jaylen Brown, and was the hero for Boston in Game 5 when they needed him. I mean, this thing was tied up at 59 at the half. The Knicks got up by as many as about 10 early in the second quarter. Boston stormed back. Third quarter, Celtics did to the Knicks what the Knicks did to Boston in the third quarter of Game 4. Celtics just completely separated themselves in the third quarter. They go plus 15 in the third, plus 10 in the fourth for a 25-point win against the New York Knicks. And look, this was a physical game. There were frustrating elements of it, I'll say, where I thought that the Knicks were getting called for some ticky-tack fouls, and then on the other side of the floor, Boston was playing ultra-physical basketball. That's all good and well. At the end of the day, even if the calls might have at times bothered me, you can't lose to freaking Luke Cornett putting up 10 points, 9 boards, and 7 blocks, all right? Luke Cornett can't be going out there looking like Dikembe freaking Mutombo. I mean, that is inexcusable for the Knicks to allow a guy like Cornett to play 26 minutes of that kind of caliber basketball. I mean, Peyton Pritchard off the bench shot well. He contributed 17. Sam Hauser only made 2 buckets, but they were big buckets when Boston was starting to separate themselves from the Knicks. Al Horford hit a couple threes. You know what we were dead right about? Kristaps Porzingis just not being himself. We went under 15.5 points. I mean, we could have gone alt under 9.5. We could have gone alt under 1.5. Finished with 1 point. 12 minutes. Didn't play the second half. And I'm curious to hear what's up with Kristaps, if anything new has happened, or if this is the mix of being banged up and the illness that we've heard of for the past couple of months now that has not seemed to clear its way out of his system. The only Celtic starter, actually the only Celtic who touched the court with a negative plus-minus, Kristaps Porzingis, 12 minutes, minus 12. Everyone else who played, we'll say 15 minutes, everyone else who played more than 15 minutes had a plus-minus of at least plus 11 or better. Hauser, ironically, was even in his 15 minutes, but everyone else, double-digit plus-minus, erring towards the positive side of things, while Porzingis was minus 12 when he was out there. For the Knicks, Jalen Brunson fouled out. All of those fouls, if I'm not mistaken, came in the second half. He had 22 points, a respectable game, not, his Game 4 performance by any stretch. Karl Anthony Towns hardly able to stay out there. He had 3 fouls early in this one, 19 points, 8 boards. I'd call it an performance. Anunoby and Bridges were absolutely dreadful. OG Anunoby, 1 of 12 from the floor. He was terrible offensively. Bridges not much better, 4 for 14. When those guys are a combined 5 for 26, and you've got an opposition without Jason Tatum, I mean, give me a break. It was absolutely atrocious for this team offensively. Josh Hart was fantastic. He was really the only one who gave what I would consider to be an inspired performance out there. 24 points, 7 boards, hit 5 threes. Deuce McBride hit 3 threes, but a lot of those were when the game appeared to be out of reach towards the end there. So Josh Hart really for a while, almost single-handedly, I mean Brunson in there too, keeping them afloat. But ultimately the Knicks just a baffling second half performance, letting Derek White and Jaylen Brown and Luke Cornett beat you in Game 5. Not good, but they head back to Madison Square Garden Friday night, standalone game if I'm not mistaken, and we will be going back to the Knicks to clinch things at home. They're laying 2. They're minus 130 currently on the early money line, and we will be taking the Knicks Friday to close this series out at MSG. Folks, before the line moves, the sharp plays over at sharpplays.com are already there. They don't chase the market, they move it. You're not going to outmuscle billion-dollar sportsbooks or full-time pro bettors on your own. But with the sharp plays, you don't have to. Powered by cutting-edge AI and trusted insider sources, the sharp plays deliver the edge that serious bettors rely on. You'll get free betting reports, real-time alerts, and market-moving insights, all delivered right to you via email or Twitter. And this isn't some overnight startup. The Sharp Plays has a documented track record going back to 2011 with receipts, public logs, and results right there on the site. Respected, watched, feared, that's the Sharp Plays. Check them out now at sharpplays.com. Minnesota leading it 72-54. About 8 minutes to go in the third. They're laying 16.5 on the live line. On the ice, we are still knotted up at zeros. Vegas now an ever so slight favorite, practically a pick 'em. Minus 120 to the Knights, minus 110 to the Oilers. Saw a lot of overs being played in this one at 6.5. Going to take a miracle for that to get home in this game. Just over 26 minutes left and a couple of goose eggs on the board. I stayed away from this one. Lean Vegas. I've been on Edmonton in 6, that exacta, ever since Game 3 ended. That was plus 240 on Sunday, and I'm still leaning in that direction. We're going to look at some NFL schedules up next. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with myself, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through your Wednesday night here on the program. The T-Wolves leading Golden State 74-59. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. We've got goose eggs on the ice in Las Vegas right down the road. A 0-0 game currently. Vegas fighting for their lives, trying to keep their season alive. 5 minutes to go in the second period there. Are the Dodgers now losing? Am I reading that correctly? 3-2? I mean, this is disgusting. We have the Dodgers run line, gave it out yesterday. And currently a 2-1 day. We hit Kristaps Porzingis under 15.5 points. We hit Tarek Skubal over 7.5 Ks. Can we talk for a minute about the CLV we got on that Skubal bet? I mean, last night on the program at 9:30 p.m. or 9:45 p.m., we're talking about that game. That's when I first gave the play out, and it was plus $1.10. Then, final segment of the show, 10:45, I give it out again in the VSiN Daily Morning Bet segment. That's when I actually played it, and it was even money. So that's the price we rolled with, even money. Lost 10 cents of CLV there. But I saw this thing at game time. The best price available for 7.5 was minus 150. So even losing the 10 cents in an hour from when we first talked about it to when we actually placed it, we had 50 cents of CLV in that Skubal bet. And then closes 7.5 minus 150 or 8.5 closer to even money at some shops. And he finishes with 11. He has been otherworldly. The Sox are striking out a ton against lefties. Reagan's had 8 and 5 the other day. Skubal with 11 and 6 1/3. Sox actually got to Skubal and then blew it. Bottom of the ninth. They had a guy on third, less than 2 outs in the top of the ninth. Didn't get him home. And then Detroit walks him off 6-5. The Red Sox have been an utter disaster. They're below 500. 12 of their 23 losses by 1 run. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, this Red Sox team, it feels like, could just as easily be 30-15 as they are 22-23. And I'm sitting here with a Sox to win the division ticket, just furious that they're not in first place right now. So the difference between a 2-2 day, because we lost Knicks money line, will be the Dodgers on the run line. They were up 2-0. They're now losing 3-2. So we would need LA to go +3 in terms of scoring the final half of the game as we head to the bottom of the 5th at the Athletics leading the Dodgers 3-2. Kim Otani bets 9-1-2 due up. Let's look at this NFL schedule release. And we're going to do a lot of this throughout the program. I'll tell you what. When these schedules first came out, my absolute first thought was Sunday, December 21st. You got to run to the counter right now and take the Jets +1.5 at New Orleans. I mean, that makes no sense to me. Aaron Glenn is going to have about 13 games under his belt by then. The Jets defense should be humming. New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback. Are you kidding me if you're betting a game December 21st? The fact that there are lines up for games all 18 weeks is nuts. And I hate to use this word, but it's pure degeneracy. I mean, if you're betting a Jets-Saints game on December 21st, right now on May 14th, and you're going to have your money tied up for one game, a single game, that's 7 months from now, call the number. Call the number. My goodness. I can't believe that we've got lines up for games all 18 weeks when we don't know who the hell's going to be playing in 7 months from now. Here's a schedule that actually did stand out to me. The Buffalo Bills 2025 schedule. When I saw the Bills and the Ravens are going to square off week 1 Sunday Night Football, I got giddy. I can't wait. Anytime we get Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen in prime time, and there have been some lopsided, one-sided affairs, but I don't care. Sign me up. Could this be your conference championship this year? Look, I'm not a Chiefs doubter, but I don't know. Something about this year. I feel like Kansas City could come back in 2026 and win the Super Bowl. Last time they got embarrassed in a Super Bowl, and I know they made it to the AFC Championship that year. It's not like they did nothing that year. And I know Mahomes was likely concussed in that AFC Championship game against Cincinnati. But they didn't follow up that Super Bowl loss impressively. And I think this could be a year for Buffalo or for Baltimore. So that week 1 game, I am so excited for it. Week 3, Thursday night, they get the Dolphins. I think they're going to shellac them in that game. I've got no faith, no love when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. Then you get the Saints. You get a Bills versus Vrabel and the Patriots prime-timer. Sunday night again, week 5. Monday night, week 6. Give me Buffalo in prime time as many times as we can. They get the Chiefs at Orchard Park, week 9. Buffalo, they do great against the Chiefs in the regular season. I've got no reason to believe Kansas City's going to win that game. I mean, this is a Bills team. I can't bet over 11.5 wins because you got to lay 60 cents, and that's borderline criminal. But this is a Bills team. I can't wait to see what they do this season. I wonder if this is going to be the year. And look, this schedule doesn't necessarily tell me much. We knew the opponents, right? That's what matters. The schedule release is this whole ratings-driven, overrated, crock of nonsense, if you will. But it's still fun to see the primetime games, right? Oh, Bills-Ravens, Sunday night, week 1. That gets me excited. I'm not going to lie. As far as the most of it, the order of the opponents doesn't do a whole lot for me. Closing out with the Eagles, week 17, is interesting. That's a good tune-up for the playoffs because you don't want Buffalo to take their foot off the gas when they've got Cleveland and the Jets 2 of their last 3 games. So I am intrigued by that Eagles game, week 17, to get you up and get the juices flowing for some January football. Look, I think this is a Bills team, and this is a schedule that, I look at the Chiefs, and I think Buffalo wins that game. The Ravens is going to be tough week 1. Maybe you come in and you live bet them if they drop that week 1 game. But I think that this is a pretty favorable schedule for Buffalo. Home against KC, home against Tampa is huge. You don't want to go to Tampa. Home against Cincinnati is huge. I could see Vrabel's team stealing one week 15. Home against the Eagles. I mean, the Bills did get a favorable draw with their home versus their road schedule. The road schedule's not that daunting. You know, Atlanta in a dome. Obviously, your divisional teams, the Panthers, Houston, Pittsburgh. That road schedule is not that daunting. They get their toughest opponents all at home, seemingly, with the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bengals, the Bucks. I think Buffalo could have a massive year. We could be looking at potentially a 1 seed for the Bills. You know, a team that got no shortage of primetime opportunities, and I love every minute of it? How about the Washington Commanders? I mean, the league has Jaden Daniels in so many standalone spots, and deservedly so. I was hoping we'd get Washington-Philly week 1 to start the year. And I get the Eagles-Cowboys rivalry, and now Pickens goes to Dallas, and it just became even that much of a sexier watch. But I wanted Daniels, Hurts, week 1, Thursday night. Maybe the league didn't want to risk the defending champs losing that game. But, I mean, look at all these standalone spots. You've got Green Bay week 2, Thursday night football. You've got Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, part 2, week 6, Monday night primetime action. You've got Jaden Daniels versus Patrick Mahomes on a Monday night. Seattle the following Sunday night versus Tua and the Fish in Spain. I saw Washington early -3. I love the Commanders -3. I love fading Miami when they are not in Miami. You got the Eagles on a Saturday game, Denver on a Sunday night game that can, of course, be flexed, but I would love to see Daniels and Bo Nix. Washington versus Dallas on Christmas. I mean, this is absurd, the amount. And I say absurd in a great way. What are we looking at? 8 standalone spots for the Washington Commanders? Don't be shocked. Week 18 at Philly, if that's Sunday night football. Half their games, they're the only show. I love it. I love Jaden Daniels getting his propers in year 2 because Jaden Daniels is an outside candidate to win the MVP this year. He is that special, and I think Washington can be that good this season. Folks, the NBA playoffs are heating up, and our partner ProfitX is offering the best odds all postseason long. ProfitX is a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in over 40 states. You'll be able to make your own picks against other groups of fans rather than the books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%, and you can even request your own odds. So download ProfitX today, use the code VSIN, VSIN, and earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. I can't wait. Coming up next, our friend from A to Z Sports, the Ruffino and Joe Show as well, Joe DeLeone, going to join the show as we break down this NFL schedule release. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Wednesday night, right on in to your Thursday morning for our friends over on the East Coast. And speaking of our friends on the East Coast, let's hit the progressive guest line here. Welcome in our friend. You can catch his work on A to Z Sports. Tune into the Ruffino and Joe Show on YouTube. It's Joe DeLeone joining us on the progressive guest line. Joe, the long-awaited, highly anticipated NFL schedule release is finally here. Just another excuse for the league that is king in this cycle of sports news to just grab attention and headlines in a month that otherwise would have nothing to do with football. What was your biggest takeaway from the schedule release?
Yeah, I don't understand still the whole point of this. I know I sound like an old man complaining, but the schedules get leaked the whole day. And then it's like, whoa, look at the schedules, everybody. Like, you think that if they were going to be so focused on doing this whole bonanza, they'd make sure the dang schedules didn't get leaked. But, I mean, that's my only complaint. I care about some of these matchups. I'm intrigued by some of these matchups. It'll be very interesting to see how some of these big primetime games end up playing out.
Yeah, let's talk about primetime games because Jaden Daniels, and I think deservedly so, has a ton of primetime or at least standalone spots on the schedule for the Washington Commanders. And I mean, look, I'm obsessed and addicted to watching Jaden Daniels. I could watch him nonstop. So I love the fact that he's in so many standalone spots, except the game in Spain, because that's, 6 a.m. on the West Coast? So probably won't be watching that one. But all the other primetime games, I mean, what are your thoughts on how many spots Washington has? What kind of season do you expect out of the Commanders? Not an easy schedule. That win total 9.5. I mean, do we take the over? Are they begging us to take the over? Do you think we look under? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm taking the over on that 9.5. I mean, they've got some tough matchups. We already talked about last week how the NFC East is a really tough draw for the other divisions that it's going to be playing. But this Commanders team was as good as they were last year with old bodies on both sides of the football, not nearly the quality of offensive line that they have going into this season after they took Connerly and they also traded for Laramie Tunsil. I just really, really think that this Commanders team is going to take a leap after they had an amazing season last year. Some could argue some of those games, late season luck, the ball bouncing their way. This is a year, the way that they put against the Lions, I think, is where they're going to continue to show up in these primetime matchups. And I think that the NFL is very smart for this. The NFL needs to lean into its young stars. It's also in a market where there is a very rabid and focused fan base. And I think that also just naturally a lot of Southern sports fans seem to really love Jaden Daniels. And there's not really a lot of NFL teams in a lot of those Southern states. A lot of them pay attention to what the Commanders do. So I really, really think putting as much of a spotlight on Jaden Daniels is a very, very bright and strategic move by them.
Yeah, and even if you're, say an LSU fan who is also a New Orleans Saints fan, you might be more invested in what Jaden Daniels is doing right now than the dumpster fire that is the New Orleans Saints at the moment. Joe, I want to talk about another young quarterback, an even younger one, the first overall pick this year, Cam Ward, the Tennessee Titans. You pointed this out during the commercial break as we were talking. No primetime spots for the number 1 overall pick. How much does that surprise you?
I'm really shocked by this. I would have thought that there would have been maybe some sort of a push for like one really bad Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football game where, say, Cam Ward faced off with Travis Hunter. Like, why couldn't we have gotten a game like that? I really stand by this. I really think that this is going to be a mistake by the NFL because I think that the Titans are going to be a lot better than people realize. I think that there is a world where Cam Ward can ignite this team the way that Jaden Daniels ignited the Washington Commanders. And that 5.5 number for their win total, I'm taking the over. I think that there are going to be plenty of games this season where they're going to be able to close out late because Cam Ward is Cam Ward and he's the king of late game heroics. Last year, I said to you, Joe, on your show before it was cashing out, that my pick to win Offensive Rookie of the Year was Jaden Daniels. I think that my pick this year is just going to be Cam Ward. I'm going to keep it simple. I think that Cam Ward is going to have so many amazing highlight plays, and the NFL was too stupid to bury him and not give him the opportunity to shine in a primetime matchup.
Yeah, I didn't think about the Cam Ward versus Travis Hunter prospect of a Titans-Jags Thursday game. I'm looking at the schedule. I'm thinking we couldn't have gotten Titans-Texans on a Thursday night. I mean, Cam Ward, CJ Stroud, that's what I'm looking at. Like, come on. We've had so many god-awful Thursday night games. You could have at least given us the number 1 pick going up against, 2 years ago, the Rookie of the Year, Ward versus Stroud. I think a lot of people would have signed up to watch that contest. How about another terrific quarterback, one who's proven, now he's got a little additional hardware under his belt, Josh Allen, going up against another quarterback with some hardware, Lamar Jackson. I mean, look, I agree with you. I think the schedule release thing is overblown, is a little absurd, right? But I got giddy when I saw Week 1 Sunday night Bills-Ravens. I am really amped up for that one, man.
Right. This is the positive part of the schedule release. Getting to see matchups like this and where they slot, and most importantly, the time slot that they're landing in, not just the week. The first week of games in the NFL, I don't think we could have been given a better slate. I mean, this is a home run for what we're going to get to see. The Cowboys-Eagles matchup, I'm not super excited about. Like, I think that we could have done a lot better.
I wanted Commanders-Eagles.
A lot of people but right, like I feel like they're just trying to play into the fact that it's the Cowboys. They're going to get a lot of attention, and I can't wait to see the Cowboys lose by like 3 touchdowns, and we're going to be saying, why would they schedule this game? But to get back to what we were talking about with the Ravens and the Bills, they make up for it with this matchup. We don't have to worry about like something happening over the course of the season and a big injury happening for one of these teams, and they play in like week 11. It's not the same level of intensity or whatnot, something getting in the way of impacting the high level of play in this matchup. We get it in week 1. We get it on Sunday Night Football. We get to round out an awesome week and an awesome Sunday with 2 of the best players that were fighting for an MVP this year. When I was putting together a list for a different video that I taped before this was the one that I immediately wrote down. Like, they could not have picked a more perfect Sunday Night Football game. The thing that does stink, though, because you look at the other Sunday Night Football games, when you put it in perspective, the rest of them are kind of bad. Like, there's really not a very good Sunday night stretch this year. It feels like after week 1, it kind of tails off with a bunch of underwhelming matchups that we were given.
Well, hopefully the league isn't too gun shy with that flex option as we get into the later weeks. And, that hopefully that stuff's all tentative. Sometimes we've been left scratching our heads like, really? They're not going to flex this one out? Hopefully this year they're a little more liberal with the ability to flex some of these games. But, I mean, I look at that Bills schedule. I think over 11.5 wins should get home. I just don't know if I can lay 60 cents with it. I hate the price. I love the over.
Yeah.
What stands out to me more than anything, and we knew this prior to the schedule release when we knew the opponents, Buffalo's toughest opponents all seem to be in Orchard Park. They have a very light road schedule.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there might have been a little bit of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, help out the Buffalo Bills here. But obviously I kid. I'm not being serious. But the fact that a lot of their road games come against a bunch of mediocre teams, frankly, you get the Patriots there in the mix, them having to go to the Browns, that game is going to be a blowout and underwhelming performance. You get the Panthers, who might be good this year, but the Bills are far better than that young team that's going to be showing some signs of improvement. And their first road game is against the Jets. The Jets are another team that's figuring out what the heck they are. They got not only an amazing draw of opponents on their road schedule of just getting to square off with these teams with first-year head coaches, first-year quarterbacks, trying to get their footing straight, but the overall schedule that they have is nuts. I don't want to get caught saying this, but I think it's realistic that they could win like 14 plus games. Like, I don't think that there's any hyperbole in saying that they can maybe even win 15 or more games, because there are not very many hard matchups after that Ravens game.
No, I mean, the Bengals, the Chiefs, those games being played in Orchard Park is huge. I think the Pats,
the
week
Bengals
15,
defense could stink again this year.
We'll see. Pats could be frisky week 15 in Foxborough. But yeah, I think the Bills are absolutely live to be the 1 seed. He's Joe DeLeone, our friend from A to Z Sports. Catch the Ruffino and Joe Show. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Joe DeLeone. And folks, make sure that you start betting smarter, because smarter bets start right here and they last all year long with a VSiN Pro subscription. For a limited time, we're slashing the price of our annual subscription. Normally $240, now just $1.99. And when you sign up today, you're getting 2 extra months for free. That's 14 months VSiN Pro access for less than 50 cents a day with the promo code PRO. Those 14 months include daily best bets from our hosts and guests, exclusive splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 live video on the VSiN Watch app, and more. So head to VSiN.com/subscribe now, promo code PRO, and lock in your 14 months for just $1.99.
Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out rolls along with myself, Joe Ceraulo. We've got our friend from A to Z Sports and the Ruffino and Joe Show, Joe DeLeone, with us on the Progressive Guest Line. Quick live updates. Minnesota leading Golden State 99-86. Warriors making a little bit of a slight comeback bid here early in the fourth quarter. They've outscored the Wolves by about 8 with 7.5 to play, but it will likely be too little too late, down a dozen still. Knights Oilers still knotted up at 0 inside of 17 minutes to go, and wow, the Oilers just had a breakaway opportunity. Shot was no good. Goal got dislodged. We'll have a stoppage inside 17 to play. Still nothing. What a save by Hill for the Knights. Joe, looking at some of these NFL schedules that have come out today, there was one that really stood out to you that we didn't get to, and this team is intriguing to me because a lot of people are expecting regression, but it's more so because of what they lost in the coaching staff and not on the field. The Detroit Lions. Let's pull their schedule up. Let's gauge the temperature here with Detroit. I mean, how much of an impact? Obviously, coordinators are important in this league, but the Lions are running out, for the large part, the same key players as they did a year ago. Are they going to get much worse losing Johnson and Glenn?
This is like a big thing that I'm tracking. It's one of the biggest things that I'm like the most intrigued by, because anytime that we have a team that loses a coordinator on one side of the ball, there can sometimes be a serious fall off. They're losing both coordinators. Their defense has been super stout because Aaron Glenn has been one of the most creative defensive coordinators in the NFL. Their offense has been super productive with some very unique players because Ben Johnson was one of the most creative offensive coordinators in the NFL. I think that now we are going to truly find out how good of a coach Dan Campbell is. How good is the group of guys that he was working with under his wing, growing, developing, building them? This is going to be the point that we learn that. And I think that it also makes things even more exciting that they're getting so much of a spotlight this year with all of the primetime matchups. There were a bunch of games that I was tracking that I wrote down that really caught my eye for primetime matchups where them squaring off in week 3 at the Ravens is going to be a really fun game to see what they do if that run defense can slow down Lamar Jackson. Them getting to square off with the Rams and the Commanders are going to be fun. Those aren't in prime time, but I'm also really closely looking at how is that game against the Eagles going to go in week 11 on Sunday Night Football. There are so many chances, I think, for this Lions team to continue to build their brand as the most liked team in the NFL and also the most physical, hard-nosed team, despite them having maybe a little bit of an identity shift with new coordinators.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to me to see how they come out of the gate, because this is a team that can easily start 1-2. And frankly, while it would be, I would say, unlikely, it wouldn't be impossible for them to start 0-3. I mean, if Ben Johnson, look, when it comes to talent, they've got a clear advantage over the Bears. But the Bears head coach knows these guys inside and out. So if Ben Johnson goes back into Motown week 2 and shocks them, at Green Bay week 1, look, I'm going to say that they start 2-1. I'm going to give them wins at Green Bay. Weather shouldn't be a factor week 1. And I'm going to give them a win against Johnson and the Bears week 2 and a loss at Baltimore. But it wouldn't, 1-2 is on the table. It is certainly a possibility. I'm looking at this schedule. I think that win total is disrespectful. 10.5. Are we going to see this team get 5 games worse? Like at Cincy and at KC back-to-back is tough. Tampa always plays them tough. Beat them 2 years ago in the playoffs, right? Beat them. Detroit beat them in the postseason. Tampa covered that game. Tampa beat them outright last year in the regular season. It's not an easy schedule. So we talk about Buffalo, right, having the easy road schedule. Detroit's got a really tough road schedule the more I look at this. At Washington and Philly back-to-back.
They're traveling all over the place. The timing of some of these matchups is brutal. You just talked about how you get Commanders and Eagles. I don't see that they have any international games, which is good for them. But I got to be honest, that 10.5 number, it does come off as disrespectful. But if I'm being frank, if there's a win total I'm not going to bet, I think the Lions are going to be at the top of that list. And I'm not saying that they're going to completely fall apart and they're only going to win 10 games this year, but there's just so much up against them. I know that I'm coming off as a Lions doubter, and the Lions love to be doubted and whatnot, but there are just so many hard matchups that could go in complete opposite directions. I wouldn't be shocked if were talking about a 10-win Lions team that lost a ridiculous amount of one-score games. I think that is so plausible for them. They're never going to be a team that gets blown out by any of these teams that they're going to see, but it is so possible for them to be 10-7 with 3-point losses to the Commanders, Eagles, Rams, Chiefs, Bengals. Cowboys could be a lot better this year. There's just I don't see many games that feel like guaranteed for sure win because the team that they're playing stinks.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this Detroit team going, 8-0 at home and on the road being
a lot to ask.
That's a tough road schedule. That is a tough road schedule. Realistically, what do you think we're looking at here? At Green Bay, I'll give them a win. At Baltimore, a loss. At Cincy and KC back-to-back weeks, do we call that a split? Like I
don't think that they're winning both of those.
I feel like if they split Bengals, Chiefs, and Commanders, Eagles, those two little road back-to-backs, I think if they split both of those, they go over. But if they get swept in one of them, then we could be having some serious concerns here.
Well, and it's just we got to contextualize the momentum of a season. So if you have back-to-back road games, I first of all, I don't think I've seen this many tough back-to-back road matchups on a schedule before. I don't have a lot of schedule memory, but this is just bad luck that they were given. But the momentum that you lose if they lost at Bengals and Chiefs or Commanders and Eagles, I mean, like that could be debilitating. That could be like really just taking the air out of them.
Well, luckily,
I trust Dan Campbell.
Luckily, if they lose to the Commanders and the Eagles, they come home and have the Giants. So that's a pretty good get-right spot. In fact, Can we pull up the Giants schedule? Because this is one of the most difficult schedules that I have maybe ever seen. I mean, the Lions schedule is no cakewalk. What I will say, Joe, that I like is before the Lions go to the Rams, they play Thursday night at home against Dallas. So they have a little bit of an extended time off before they fly out to SoCal. So that, I think, would behoove them in that Rams game. Let's look at this Giants schedule. Can the Giants beat the Saints week 5 on the road? I think they should, but it's at New Orleans.
That's like their one guaranteed win. That's like the one game that I could say they're going to beat that team. That's about it.
They don't have a guarantee at home, huh?
I mean, none of these games really scream to me opportunities to win at home. This is a brutal schedule. I know that we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of, as you pulled it up the schedle a few weeks ago, I started to eat my words as we realized who they had to square off with.
Because you were saying they could win maybe 6.
I really think, knowing Daboll and Shane and the Giants historically, they're going to find ways to win games that they're not supposed to. They're going to finish with 4 wins or something like that. But the 5.5 number is kind of high. 6 is possible if the ball bounces their way and their defense plays as good as it could. But here's one thing that needs to be established here. Please, for the love of God, stop scheduling the Giants in primetime games. Stop doing it. They're not a good franchise right now. They're not a good team. This is coming from a Giants fan. I am tired of my day being ruined. At the end of the day, it's a Thursday night. Who's playing on Thursday Night Football? It's the Giants and the Eagles. I get to go watch them get smacked by the Eagles. What's this end of the day on a Sunday? Who are they going up against? They get the Chiefs. Week 3, getting worked in week 3. Who are they playing? It's a Monday night in week 13. They get the Patriots. Drake May coming out party, big game. He throws for 5 touchdowns. And the Giants look like ass. I am tired of it. I'm so tired of it. Stop putting them in primetime just because they're a big brand. They're awful. Wait until they start to show signs of promise. This is so stupid.
Wow. Come for the schedule release. Stay for the Joe DeLeone rants. That was incredible. We're going to make that a segment. Getting worked in week 3.
Welcome.
I mean, the Giants are going to get worked in week 3. They're going to get bent over this desk week 3, Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. Geez. My goodness, that's going to be a slaughter. This schedule. Hey, you know what? Go 1-16. Maybe Arch declares. Maybe Arch declares for the draft.
He won't.
Yeah.
He won't.
I think if it's the Giants or the Saints, I think he's going to wait until the last minute to see who's picking first before he declares. I mean, and he can, because there's no stupid lottery like the NBA. He'll know when the season's over who's picking first. The NBA lottery is so rigged. I don't say that lightly, but it's so rigged. Joe DeLeone, make sure you follow him on Twitter at Joe DeLeone. Check out the Ruffino and Joe show and his great work over at A to Z Sports. Thanks so much for the time, man.
Thanks, Joe.
More Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo up next.